Hey guys, I just wanted to do this video really quick. I'm actually knee deep in work here, but I just want to take a second. I'm a little crazy when it comes to this. So when I saw it, I had to sage. This is why I did the hashtag spot and the YouTube page, because I truly believe that most women of color do not know basic EEOC, and it's not your fault. Like, I think this should be taught in schools. It's federal law, so basically it's how the workplace is supposed to navigate legally. These are laws. It's not like options or stuff like that. So I have a Facebook page, a private group for women of color. And hi, Kimmy. How you doing? Good afternoon. And one of the biggest questions I get from African American women is about pay. And a lot of things are happening. You see pay discrimination. I'm from New York. Hey, hi, hello. I'm not saying your screen name. So one of my favorite things is living in New York. We have different laws. So right now in New York City, hi Sean, right now from New York City, they have a pay ban, meaning that you are not allowed to ask people their salary. Okay, Pia. Good afternoon, Pia. You're not allowed to ask people their salary. And the reason why this law came into play in New York City is because the government takes data. Hi, Coco. And when the government takes data, they see that even with education, even with experience, when they match it up against other people, African American women are the lowest paid segment in American society. African American men are low too, but African American women are way down there low. And the reason why it's such a standpoint is because African American have more education, have more stuff like that. Oh, thank you, Pia. It's a new wig, new wig. So, but like I was saying, that's why they're so stickler to it. But you don't have to have that specific pay ban law. Even with that pay ban law, people are emailing me telling me that recruiters are still saying, "What's your salary range?" Well, you can say, "I don't know." You can say, I don't know what you're paying for the job, or what's the range that you're paying. You are allowed to be assertive. You are allowed to ask questions, because I'm 100% travel right now as an HR director, and I'm looking for a stationary job because it's getting crazy to be traveling. I'm always up all the time and the hours, so it's hard for me. I work primarily from home, but I'm constantly traveling. I try to stay home as much as I can because it's very difficult to be 100% nonstop. So people like to ask me that question, what's the salary range you're looking for? And I'm like, it depends on the company. What's your productivity? You need to be able to answer that question, because if I apply for an HR director job with ExxonMobil, or I apply for an HR director job with Apple, my company, Express Spa, is just an airport company. So oh, Pia, this is like my second one. I just saw a question from somebody on my Facebook page, and I'm trying to do my work, but that question bothered me because I don't think, whenever it comes to pay, it's not okay if you get promoted within your company, if you have the experience. It's not okay anymore for them to pay you dramatically lower because you're internal. And the reason why I said that is because one of the biggest ways discrimination is interpreted by the EEOC is consistency and implementation. And what that means in normal language is, if you, let's say I pay Pia $20,000, I can't go and decide to pay Michael $15,000, then somebody else $10,000 if they all have the same education and similar experience. So it doesn't matter if you're internal. If that job is paying $120,000, and because you're internal, someone thinks it's okay to pay you only 80, almost half of what you're supposed to get, that's illegal. They would have to be able to show that that is consistently what they do. So I'm here with the EEOC page because I was using it for work, and so I'm going to read the bottom of the EEOC page. Race color discrimination, employment policies and practices. An employment policy or practice that applies to everyone, regardless of race or color, can be illegal if it has a negative impact on employment of people of a particular race or color and is not job related and necessary to the operations of the business. For example, a no beard policy that applies well to workers without regard to race may be still unlawful if it's not job related and has a negative impact on employment of African American men. So if you are statistically, listen to that, if you are statistically African American woman, and we're known to have lower salaries because of discrimination, you have the right to demand the average medium range. Hey, thank you, Deidre. Thank you so much. You have the right to demand the average medium range for that job and your salary. And the reason why I say that is because, it's not okay to get paid dramatically lower. That's not, going forward, that's not where we are anymore. These are federal laws, and the reason why is, are you consistently doing that? I do have a video coming out, because I had a lot of messages about LinkedIn and Facebook, and I have to tell you guys, I was shocked at some of the questions people were asking me. I was like, damn, I should have been an employment lawyer because I would have been making money suing all these companies, because some of the things that these companies are doing can be clearly proved. So let's just say people say, Connie, but I don't have proof. I keep telling people that's not your job. Your job is to file, okay? Thank you. Thank you. Your job is to file with the EEOC, and we'll do the investigation. We'll do that. So what's this? I experienced an internal promotion where it was on the books that my new pay could not exceed blah blah. That has nothing. If they implement such a policy consistently, then it's okay. And the reason why I know that that's not okay is because it's not consistent. I guarantee you, if you look on the books, they pick and choose who to do that to, because if they have top talent and they want to keep that person, they're not going to jip them out of a salary, because how do you retain? You have to understand, they are well aware that African American women have challenges securing employment, have challenges getting promoted, have, yeah, exactly, pearls revealed 12.5, have challenges in that way. So they know that you're going to be less apt. They know that we don't have a diversified economic background where if we're upset we can say these nuts. So that's why I made Hassesput. So you guys, the EEOC webpage is massive, but I do think you guys should spend some time looking at it. I'll do another video, I guess, and walk you guys through the page. So in case you have a question, what if you're at work one day and you don't know what constitutes a discrimination? A lot of people don't know. Race discrimination is treating someone or even an applicant unfavorably because he or she is of a certain race or because of a personal characteristic associated with that race, such as hair texture, skin color, or certain facial features. Color discrimination involves treating someone unfavorably because of skin complexion. Hi, how you doing? Which happens often. Race color discrimination could also involve treating someone unfavorably because a person is married to or associated to a person of a different race. I see this all the time. I see black men married to white women and then they get treated differently. I see black women married to white men and they get treated differently. And a lot of them don't know you are protected under the federal law. I'm reading from, this is an actual, can you guys see? That's what, as an HR person, I pride myself on following employee law. And that's why I've been so successful. A lot of HR managers are not certified in EEOC. A lot of HR managers don't know anything about employee law. Even if you don't know anything about employee law, you should partner with the EEOC. There's courses, there's classes, or spend some time going to networking events and talking to lawyers or doing something. But you can't operate a private business and don't know law. And it's clear that a lot of these agencies, well, the EEOC, it doesn't matter who it's. I see somebody Zionist and Urban League. You know what? There's nothing perfect. I understand. I'm not going to get into who owns it or whatever, but you can utilize it. It's called the EEOC. That's what it's called. It's going to say Equal Employment Opportunity Commission.gov. So www EEOC.gov. And that's the section of law that mandates and protects this. So let me just okay, Brooklyn, what if you say you get an email saying we can only pay this amount? They don't want. So, Brooklyn, what you have to do, yeah, it's www.eeoc.gov/forward laws. But once you put it in, it'll come up because there's only one EEOC. So what you when it happens with pay, I tell African American women to do a demographic search. They have Indeed, they have salary.com, they have a few Glassdoor, and you can do searches and put in your zip code to get an idea of what that medium salary is going to be, meaning that they should give you a middle range of what that salary is going to be. I hope that makes sense. So you can go in, you don't have to take a salary you don't want. It's if you know that you are warranted a certain salary, like for instance, let's just say I get hired or somebody makes a job offer and I know that AT&T or I don't know, Pathmark pays 150 for this HR job, but they're offering me only 100,000. You could walk away or you can assert and say, hey, the medium pay for you can even ask them, what's the medium pay range for this job? So you gotta reinforce yourself. And I tell African American women all the time, remember, you have talent, you're educated, you are a valuable commodity. If you don't recognize yourself, no one's going to recognize you. So you really have to come prepared. Like for instance, someone contacted me today and told me that they have an interview and I was helping her with her resume. So I was really excited. So she called me and she said, they stole a lawsuit so long that you no longer want to find witnesses or even yeah that's why I'll give you guys more tips for that. As soon as it happens you have to document it. The sooner the better because you are protected, but the more you delay, the harder it is. The more information, the more detail you have, the easier it is. So what was I saying now? That's why it's really important to know these laws and navigate it down. So when people say, "Oh, this it doesn't work," the EEOC gives out a lot of money. And one thing about the EEOC is that they can see things you can't see. So if you have a suspicion, that's all you need. A lot of times people are like, oh, I don't have proof. You don't need proof. Proof of discrimination for you to have in your hand, like, yo, son, I got that proof, I got that proof. It's impossible. They're going to go into the system. They're going to ask for records. They're going to ask for data. They're going to ask for numbers. They're going to ask to see employee files, things that you and me, well, me, I have, me, have access to. So, yeah, that's what I want to say. Who's girl, thank you, girl. I just was reviewing a case because as an HR director, I look at other cases to balance out how I do my investigation. So I look at other cases through the EEOC so I know how to do my investigations. I was just reviewing a case with Louis Vuitton. You know Louis Vuitton, the bag company. An Asian girl sued for discrimination. So I like the way, and not to sound cranky, how some black people are like, oh, it doesn't work, and oh my God, you have Asian people, and I'm not trying to be mean, but they don't get discriminated against heavily. It's rare. When I read these cases, it's probably less than 1%. Of majority of cases is African American. I'm looking at it now. Hispanic, Muslim is hot right now. Transgender, and women pay discrimination. Asian don't even make it up there. So um, you have to realize that they don't care. They're gonna go out if they feel like it's even a slight possibility. Um, no, well, not true. Not true. If she sues Pia, if she does it the right way, she gets because Louis Vuitton got in trouble before with African American. Barney got in trouble with African American. Macy's got in trouble with African American. You have a couple of people that get in trouble with African American because yeah, it depends where. Pia, very smart. I'm glad you said that. This does matter. Red states, I hate to say this, are much more constrictive and it's not as liberal. Blue states like New York, we eat that with pork and beans. Like we eat them. So it is a little bit tougher when you're in a conservative state because they're not liberal. They're not about diversity. New York, New York has like five different EEOCs. New York has a Human Rights Division. The New York has EEOC. The New York has a City Council. Like there's so many levels and so much access because New York is very diverse. So yeah, the that's also Pia. It depends demographic. I know friends who are in nursing and they make over six figures in New York. So it depends what criteria of nursing. It depends what type of nursing you're doing. What's your certification? If you're an anesthesiologist nurse, or if you're a pediatric nurse, or if you're emergency ER nurse. But also bigger cities tend to pay more because it's a bigger metro. So if you're interested in that, like I said, I do career counseling. I only charge $25 for the like an hour on the phone. If I have to write documentation for you guys, I only charge 50. It's cheap. But this way you can go ahead and get your file because a lot of you guys are missing money. A lot of you guys are missing money because you don't know the law. And other people are getting a lot of money, and like I can just tell you right here some of the cases that I review, which are some of these cases are ridiculous, and it's cases that I'm gonna just see what I can pull up here. I'm going to let me see if I can get anything from down south because East Coast is too easy. You can sue in New York for just breathing, and that's what I mean too. It does matter, where you are in the United States because the influence is there. Like imagine trying to sue in Alabama versus New York, or imagine trying to sue in Missouri or Mississippi versus California. So because it's difficult. It's difficult. Yeah, also, that's why New York banned asking for salary. So in New York, let me tell you what the law is. And now, oh my gosh, I don't know if it's going to get passed because of Trump, but the pay ban was going to help everyone, but it's going to help black women the most. I want to look at that with you guys. Pay ban, because a lot of people are in New York that listen to me, but you also can use this as well because they're thinking about implementing 50 states. So let's just look at that together. All right. So the pay ban. So I'm actually going to pull up because employers still, I don't know why they don't want to let that go. Yeah. Texas is Coco. You're in Texas. Woo. That I have regions in Texas. And that's woo. West Virginia, Texas, Georgia, because I manage about 70 different areas throughout the airports in the United States. That is, I will tell you, Texas is Texas. That's all I'm gonna say. Because I still work for the company, so I gotta be quiet. But Texas is yeah, when I go to Texas, I drink Patron before I go into those places because it's like a different country. It's a different country. And I tell black people all the time, you can get mad and write comments. It is a major difference from living in the East Coast and living in very southernmost states. It's a big difference. And I know like a lot of black people like it's cheaper down south and they have history and stuff, but it's different. You can't compare it. They say men apply for jobs, qualify for them. I've seen jobs where, yeah. I mean, this is why I made Hasesput, because I think times are getting serious for African American women because we tend to be single moms. We tend to be, it's the truth. Look at the statistics. We tend to be alone, and we need to be alerted to what we can do to increase our financial stability. What can we do to increase our economic wealth? What can we do to network and put ourselves at an advantage, not a disadvantage? And it's happening rapidly. And what I mean by that is the final frontier of wealth is real estate. And what you see happening now is a lot of gentrification. You see a lot of people that were in lower economic urban areas being pushed out because now the rich people, they bought up all the property. They literally have nowhere to go. So now they're investing in very diverse economic urban areas, and that's pushing people of color, primarily black women, black and Hispanic, out of homes. Eventually, if we don't get our shit together, we're going to be floating like a satellite in outer space. We're going to be floating around the earth. You're literally going to have no place to live. Because I was shocked when I was staying in Chicago for my job in 2015. I was living in Chicago for 3 months because of my industry. And I saw, like, literally across the street was slums, then across this street was high rise, and like, it's crazy. So now you have to, I'm telling black women, you got to diversify. You got to get into real estate. Whether you get 5 of your girls together, invest. Like, if you got a family and all four of y'all is broke, all four of you should put together and try to get a house, get some type of real estate. Because in the next 20 years, I'm scared to see what it looks like. I live in New York, and I cannot believe South Jamaica, Queens. You know where 50 Cent is from? 50 Cent, the rapper, where he got shot 9 times. One of the worst neighborhoods in the United States. And they're building luxury high-rise apartments and what you would call it, high-rise apartments and hotels in the slums. You come back in 10 years, it's not going to be any people of color. So it's not an option for us to, waste time wondering why, waste time arguing about how we got here. Because I see that in the black community. They put a lot of energy into how it happened, why it happened. And that is good to know so you don't repeat the past. But don't let all of that absorb you. We need solutions, and we need it now. Like, now. Or literally, you're going to be floating outside of the planet, like planet Earth. You're going to be floating. You're going to have nowhere to go because even the ghetto, even the hood is not safe. I grew up in Brooklyn, Broadway Junction, East New York, Chauncey Street, 11207. Look up that zip code. When I was growing up, that was the hood. I'm talking about the hood. And now there's nene shops and bicycle shops, and there's hippies and hipsters, and literally black people are being pushed out of the poorest areas. Where's that gonna leave you? You're gonna go extinct. So it's, you really have to focus on the solutions. I see all the stuff coming up, and I know you guys, I feel you, and I understand and I respect every single story because I've been through it, but I put my energy into, you know, advancing. A lot of times we get so amored with what happened to us. This is serious because they're not playing with us. They're not playing with us no more. They're taking up the properties. They know black women are going to college. They're boxing us out of jobs. I read the CNN money reports every single day, and I pray and I hope that the needle will change. It's not changing, and we need to get a certain economic level to sustain for the next 20 years because things are always raising. So let me just talk about this. So in New York City, the salary history, you can't do it no more. So it's illegal for public and private employers of any size in New York to ask an applicant about salary history during the hiring process, including advertisements, positions, applications, or interviews. Rather than rely on applicants' previous salary, employers and job applicants can now engage in salary negotiations, focus on the applicant's qualifications and requirements for the job to set the salary. So that's for everybody in New York City. But the good thing about this is a lot of states have this law. So if you're not sure, contact me. My email should be in the icon for Hesesput, and I'll tell you about your state. Everyone in New York City deserves to be paid based on their skills and qualifications, not their previous salary. And the reason why they did that is because so many people are underpaid, especially black women, people of color. So if you keep asking what their previous salary is, they literally going to have a history of being underpaid and underemployed. So when I talk about real estate, because I see somebody said something, but it goes so fast. I'm trying to see the messages. I guess I need to do this on my laptop because it goes so fast. So before I go, I wanted to make this quick because I have some work to do for actual work. You know, the quickest thing to do is not get yourself into debt. And I keep telling black women, don't do what I did and go to these fancy schools and get these big degrees. A lot of people say, Connie, education, education. Yes, but where are we going? So do your research. If you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, an architect, a biochemist, a physicist, yes, by all means, God bless you, go to college. I don't discourage, but if you're going to college just for financial freedom, if you're going to college just for economic empowerment, or you're at a community college, that's fine. That's fine. Don't, that's fine. Same education. But if you're looking for that, that's not going to do it for you. And because the people that run these companies, they're not going to give you a CEO or VP position. And even if they did, I have friends that are doctors, okay? I have friends that are doctors, anesthesiologists. Because remember, I graduated from graduate school, Cornell, master's. And guess what? Even them, even they are nervous because we are at a private at will industry, which means they can fire you. A lot of people don't know that United States is an at will. So that means they can fire you at any time. And not only that, anything can happen to you. I've seen friends that were nurses, and one of my friends, she's a nurse, and she got a severe injury, and she's a pediatric nurse for special needs kids, and she has to pick up the children. And after she got injured, she can't stand anymore. So it's really hard. And the thing about connections and networking, you need people who are sincere. I'll tell you, as a black woman, I am a network junkie, as you can see. If you go find me on LinkedIn, I have over 5,000 connections. I'm constantly connecting. I go to events. I have business cards. I have several different things I do: HR consulting, resume writing, career coaching, and you need to network for that. But I'm going to tell you something. It's not our networking. Don't think Becky is going to give you the support the way I would. I know it sounds mean, but it's just the absolute truth. We need to have an infrastructure for us. And unless that happens, you're not going to progress to that maximum level, because when you come from different cultures, whether you're white or black or Spanish, only people from your community knows your challenges, knows your customs, kind of know how to talk to you, and kind of can know where you're coming from. The way I can talk to you and say, okay, I know where you're coming from because I've been there. I grew up in one of the poorest neighborhoods in America. You can look it up, 11207 PS 45. It's amazing that I'm here today. A lot of people didn't make it out that neighborhood, but I do come from a two-family home, which means my parents are still married for 40 years. That made a tremendous difference. That's why I'm so big on marriage as an economic stabilizer. But anyway, you need that networking. So it yeah, it is awful. I'm trying to tell you, don't make the makeup and the wig fool you. Nah. Anybody who came from Bushwick, Brooklyn, East New York, Decatur, Schaefer, Chauncey, we're no fool. I'm not a thug, but I know how to take care of myself. So I know the real, real, real. So no one can tell me that there's not issues there. So that's why you need to. Let me tell you something. When you go on LinkedIn, do you know how hard it is to network outside of your demographic? You know, well, I'm amazing. That's what I'm trying to tell black women. You need marriage. You need to be like Malcolm X by any means necessary. I'm the only female out of my friends from that neighborhood that made it out. And a lot of black women can't tell you from Bushwick that they got a master's from Cornell and a bachelor's, and my brother graduated too, and my sister it's very rare. And I think the biggest thing was the kind of tradition. Three train to who said three train to the last stop? New lots. New lots. Three train to the last stop. New lots. I know. I'm telling you, that was the area back then. I know that whole neighborhood. I grew up there. I was there the entire time. So I try to tell people that you need click. You can't talk about this. This is one of my pet peeve. I got some hair in my mouth here. This is one of my pet peeve. When people say we need networking. Oh, who are you gonna network with, Becky? Who you go? I'm trying to save you the misery that I went through. Who you gonna network with, son? You think Becky's gonna put you on the same pedestal and help you? Let me tell you something. I had white. I went to Cornell. I had a white female friends. I used to sleep in her house. We used to get drunk together. I thought we were the same. We were. I was what, 22, 23, very young in my early 20s, and we were working together. You. You think she was trying to help me? You think she was trying to hook me up? You think she stood up for me? You think that she was helping me? You know, I'm telling you, it's not gonna happen. And black women need to stop this animosity. Even if you got 100 black women you don't get along with, you gotta find one, find two. I don't need you to have a jumbo circle. Even when you're successful, your circle, even if you're white, black, or Spanish, your networking circle will always get smaller. It doesn't even matter. Look at Jay-Z. Money got bigger, pockets got. When he's like, the circle got smaller. So it doesn't even matter. No matter what race it is, your circle will get smaller as your success grows. But you gotta find one or two black women. You're not gonna do it. Don't sit here and let white people tell you that it doesn't matter. That it's not true. It's not. It. First of all, I have to keep it real with you. I gotta constantly check myself for my own biases against black people because I've been so socially conditioned. And that's some real shit. We don't admit that. I've been so socially conditioned that certain things, me being a black woman, I have to say, that's wrong. That's wrong. And it's not an easy thing to admit. It's because I've been socially conditioned to think certain things about black people and certain things. It's that's what it is. That's what it is. There's a video on YouTube called the doll test. I talk about it all the time. And it's a bunch of young black kids, white kids, whatever, being passed around with dolls. Once you stop this video, watch it. It's called doll test, right? And then they ask the black kids which doll's the smart doll, which doll's a pretty doll. And I'm not talking, these are bambinos. These are small children. And everybody's focused on how the white kid said that black doll is bad and how the Spanish kid said the black doll is bad. Everybody's focused on that. What I was focused on was the black kids pointing to the black doll saying the black one's ugly. I'm like, that's you, son. That's you. But they were so young. They were so young. They didn't realize, you know, they didn't realize that. I want to tell you, as an African American HR, some of the biggest challenges I had were other African American women because they've been so socially conditioned and they're trying to prove themselves to their Becky boss that they can be neutral when in fact they're not neutral. They're more pro their side. And that's why I've always been it's called a doll test, DOLLTEST, and there's several versions. I might put it in the description box for this video, but you need to see if a black child at 5 and 4 years old, a black female child, is already associating her blackness with negative connotations. If you don't check that, of course it's going to be hard, and it's continued throughout society. So that's why I'm saying you need to network. You need to that's why I made Hasesput. You need to go out there and find people in your region, do events, go out there and do it. And I'm not going to lie, I've had bad experiences with black women. I lost a job that I had because of a black girl, because of somebody I befriended. But I'm not going to disenfranchise myself from black women because I know all women of all races have those issues within. Women can be catty. Women can be catty. So, yeah, Roxy, that's true. That's true. Yeah. And it's but the thing is that we are socially conditioned to question everything. For instance, I'll tell you my repertoire. I'm an HR director for the past 17 years. I do medical sales for plastic surgery, surgical stuff, which I do once or twice a month because it's a big device. I have the real estate license. I work for LG Fairmont, and I do HR consulting on the side. And I target black women because those are the women I want to empower. My consulting work, the majority of it is black women. Black, a few Spanish, and for some reason, I keep getting one or two Asian. So hi, they love me. I don't know what it is. Probably it's because I buy wigs. I don't know. But that's what I primarily do. And the reason I'm telling you that is because black women, we're very set up to fight each other. But I noticed with white girls, they got their tricks. I was so innocent growing up. I didn't know white girls wear weave and white girls got their lips done and their butt done and stuff like that. But they don't blow each other up. I didn't know until I got into medical sales. I was like, yo, the lips is not real, and the booty is not real, and the hips is not real. But when a black girl wear a wig or she's natural, you want to fight, makeup, no makeup, consciousness, not consciousness, you're making so much division. And meanwhile, Becky, she's quiet. She can hate that other white woman. She can hate her. I do HR. I see it. They can hate each other, but there's a certain point where they don't break off. Look at them with the Me Too movement and the stuff. But look, they vote for Donald Trump. There's a certain level they don't break off. Cause I'm telling you, when I was my first in the other video I did, my first assignment when I was mad young. I'm 38 now. Um, it was an Asian, and I had an Asian manager, and the person that I had to coach, according to her, was an Asian supervisor. I was wet behind the ears, son, wet behind the ears, brand new job, and it wasn't like I had authority. It was just filling in paper. But because the Asian associate or the Asian supervisor scored low, which could affect her, she told me to take that thing and tear it up. And I'm like, but I have to fix, like, I have to do it. She told me to throw, oh, thank you. Thank you so much. So, yeah, you do networking on the job. You do mentoring on the job. You still want to keep it professional. I don't care if whatever color it is. Don't tell anyone negative information. Don't tell people I be getting high on the weekend. Don't tell people anything that you wouldn't say on an interview. But still make those connections, make that mentorship with other black women, because other races are doing it. They just don't talk about it. Other races are doing it. They help each other. They see something. They move in silence. Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry, Pia. But they move in silence and they do a great job, because I had to learn the hard way, because I was raised, oh, if you go to school, you get your education, you work hard, you'll be seen as equal. I was mad innocent coming in. Cause I said, you know what? I went to Ivy League school. I kind of had a little big headed, and I was like, yeah, yeah, Cornell motherfucker. Yeah, yeah. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. And it wasn't just my degree. I was the top performer. Like, I don't want to brag. I used to get awards, bonus. And you think that mattered? They were still trying to hook their friend up. I was looking in the files. I can't say what job it was, but I was mad nosy, because there was this girl I was working with. I'm gonna get in trouble with this video, but fuck it, whatever. There was this girl I was working with, and I knew something was off, because I said, there's no way that she even finished school. I was making a joke, because she was very pretty. She was Caucasian, very thin, blue eyes, model, tall. She looked like a model. But I don't care how you look, son. You in a operational department with me. So I was doing a lot of her work. Like, we were a team, and I'm very helpful. I believe in helping. But she was taking advantage of my niceness, and when she started missing basic stuff, I was like, was she a manager before? Was she ever in human resources before? So I actually got one of my friends to ninja her file. She didn't even graduate from high school. She was working in a diversified office with black and Hispanic women, and she did not graduate high school. I'm not talking about college, son. High school. And she's sitting next to me as my equal. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm trying to be honest with you guys. I was not professional when I found out. I did get written up, because I articulated that very passionately. I was very exotic with my verbiage, and I had a right. I said, this person didn't graduate from high school, and you put us together, and she's on my same pay scale. And I'm like, no, 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 no. And and what I talk about when it comes to pay, the reason why I did this video, I like talking to you people. The pay has to be consistent. So if you get an internal promotion and they said, we can't give you a pay increase because you're internal, ask for that on paper. Don't take a job or promotion. You should have a job contract. It should be written. If they're scared to do that, they're doing something wrong, because it has to be consistent. And that's the thing. When you look at the EEOC, you can't see, because you see the lights on my face. It talks about implementation and consistency. So that means if you're doing testing for black people, you got to do it for all people. And one of the things one of my companies that I worked for was doing testing. basic testing for associates to pass. If you look at my resume, you can guess the company. And what I noticed, because I was the person in HR that was in charge of, okay, they passed, omit, pass, omit. So if you didn't pass, I would have to pull your application and put it into the reject pile. So I started to realize people I was rejecting was coming back into the system, coming back into my browser. So I'm like, oh, no, no, no. At first I thought I was smoking something. I'm like, oops, I thought I made a mistake. I'm human. Then I realized that they were picking people by hand who they wanted, even if they failed the test. That is a massive liability. And then when I dig deeper, it was not just race all the time. It was looks, colorism. They would pick light skinned black girls over dark skinned black girls. Weight. They would pick skinny black girls over curvy black girls, which is illegal. It's illegal because if the average black woman is not a 00, you can't seek that. So you didn't know that. It's a physical characteristic. It's like asking for a black woman with a high bridge. That's not going to happen. You got a flat nose. You're black. So I was shocked at what I was seeing. So I confronted my VP. Oh shit, she gonna know who it is. Whatever. She shouldn't be watching this channel anyway. But I confronted her, and she was like stuttering. I said, you can't do this. I said, you're failing people that you know are black or Hispanic or dark skin or ethnic looking. You're failing them, but the people that are Caucasian or a more, I guess, socially acceptable black, you're passing them. And these are the same people. You're unemployed? Go get a job. Why can't you find a job? These are the same people. You can't find a job and they don't want to hire you. Oh, why you not working? Why they getting Medicaid? Why they getting welfare? Motherfucker, you don't want to hire them. And a lot of these recipients, all these people were people that needed the jobs. The white people that they were feeding, they can go to Saks, they can go to Bloomingdale's, they can go to you taking them, and the black people have less opportunity. So whenever you go to a demographic like you can see discrimination. Next time you girls go shopping, right? Do me a favor. Next time you go shopping, walk into a mall, right? How do you think a Chanel counter gets all white? How do you think you go to a cosmetic counter and it could be the most blackest mall? It could be Green Acres Mall. But when certain counters have a certain demographic, you got to think to yourself, did only white people apply to a certain department, or did only white people apply to Louis Vuitton? When you go to Macy's, look how the higher end areas have a least diversity, and the qualifications for the job is the same. It doesn't change. So that's why I'm making you aware so you can empower yourself, because a lot of people are getting money, but the people who are getting money, it gets me a little bit frustrated. It's Asian people that are suing. And again, even if the company says we weren't being racist, because I've been in court with these companies, even if they say that's not true, if they fail to show, you got to listen to me, if they fail to show consistency in their hiring practices. So say it with me. If they fail to show consistency in their hiring practices, that is a violation of the EEOC. So that's why you need to file. You say, Connie, how can I prove this? But Connie, I don't have evidence. That's not your job. They can bring a key. You see this? This is a key. You see how tiny it is? You can put this into here, and you can put this into a company computer, and it could pull every email, every file with your name on it, even if it had been deleted, even if they wipe the computer, which is worse because you're not supposed to wipe data because it shows that you knew something was wrong. But they can do that. Let them do their job, because if you don't, all these laws, who's using it? It's other people. Like, it's, let me see. Oh, okay. A lawsuit just came in that got settled just now. I don't know what that is. That must be a different state. Indies fast food restaurant. What is that? What state is that? They had to pay $340,000 for discrimination case. Kentucky. That's pretty good. Indies fast food. Oh, okay. 15 people got $340,000. So you see, like, these things happen, But sexual harassment, you saw the Becky's on TV getting their money. They didn't even go to court. They just said it. They just said it. So it's, you know, you just have to empower yourself, and don't focus don't focus too much on the negative. If you spend too much time on the negative, this is the EEOC is solutions. I want you guys to get paid. I want you guys to get money. Sometimes people come to me with cases and I start smiling like I'm crazy because I'm like, yeah, you about to get paid, son. Like if you make a complaint and your employer retaliates against you, that's illegal. And actually, retaliation is the number one suit filed with the EEOC. So I want you guys to hear that. The number one time I was doing a case with the EEOC. You're going to love this. And it was a wonderful girl. She was a single mom. She had about 4 kids. And she was under severe stress. Being a single mom is tough enough. I can only imagine. So I really wanted to get this case for her. I really wanted her to get the file. But as we were doing the investigation, we could not find anything because they knew that they were doing discriminatory stuff and they were smart and there was nothing on data because they had nothing, no email, no nothing. So what company in the year 2015 has absolutely nothing on computer? So I was like, shit. And I really wanted to help her because she had 4 kids. She's a single mom and they were stressing her out. She was having depression, and she had the medical records to show that she was taking breaks from work. But I needed something. I needed something. So this is a good story. It ends good. So she filed with the EEOC, and we were investigating it. We didn't give her a right to sue letter. She filed. Do you know these idiots retaliated against her? They made it clear. Oh, because you filed, this, that, we're taking away hours and we're taking away this work schedule. They knew she had kids and she had to pick up children by a certain time. So they basically were trying to push her out of her job. And I was like, yes. She called me crying. I was like, yes, yes. And she was like, what's wrong with you? I said, that is exactly what I needed. She won her case because she was able to show that they reacted. Okay? They reacted. If you have nothing to hide, why they were so guilty of their behavior that the retaliation alone, you can get sued for it. So a lot of people don't realize that even if we don't find the actual behavior wrong, even if the person is lying, let's just say I go to work tomorrow and said, my boss said I can't wear my natural hair. Even if I'm a liar, listen to me, even if I'm lying, if they retaliate for the simple fact that I filed that charge, that's wrong. They can't do it. That's wrong. So that's what I'm trying to tell African American women. You need to know, these laws. And I want to say this. I want to say this. We need to focus on us. If you left a situation that was making you miserable, if you stopped a lifestyle that was impacting you negatively, leave it over there. I see a lot of times we try to move on in life, and I know it's normal to have these conversations back and forth, but I really want black women to invest in them. Stop giving people your energy. If you left the hood and the ghetto and you moved on and you're doing good, why would you keep talking about how bad it was or not progressing in your current role? And you know what I'm talking about. So I know a lot of you have challenges and things in the past, but I want to see you guys progress and move forward. And if you can't do that, get the help you need. Get professional help. Get therapy. Speak to someone that is professionally trained to coach you and teach you how to move past. Because I'm going to tell you something, and I'm probably going to get hate comments. A lot of times I go into, networking, and I talk about female empowerment and making sure that we are economically secure, making sure we know what generational wealth is, making sure we know about economic stability, how important marriage is, getting getting your happiness by any means necessary. I say Malcolm X your happiness. Get your happiness by any means necessary. You only have about 75 years on this planet. Unless you're a vegan, then you'll get 85 years and 90 years. But I'm just, most of us are not going to live to 100 years old. So use your life and make sure you're doing the best you can. So if you left a negative situation and you don't know how to manage it, go to therapy, work with someone, but don't get stuck in it. I hate when I see black women wasting their energy on any negative stuff. Just take that energy, open a business. Take that energy, open an online service. Take that energy, sell something on the side. So, you can't waste your time, because the people you're complaining about, they're gone. You complaining about a man? He probably don't remember you exist. You complaining about your old job? It's not gonna do anything. You complaining about a family member? It's not gonna do anything. But I do know the importance of expression. I don't want black women to think they're not allowed to be sad and they're not allowed to be upset. And then, you're a woman. You're made of skin and bone. You're not this impervious Terminator 2 freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger Judgment Day. You're not a cyborg. You're made of skin and flesh. So you're allowed to express yourself like any other woman. So yeah, find hobbies, find time for yourself. If you can't go to the spa, go on Groupon. They got like cheapy stuff. So it's you really, and everything. You know what it is? Everything is connected. If you put yourself in a good place, mentally, spiritually, if you don't believe in God, universally, I don't know what they say, universally, or whatever whatever you guys put in place of faith, that's your business. But if you put yourself aligned in that good place, the man you want, the job you want, the house you want, the life you want, everything flows. It's kind of like a wave. It flows. Because I realized when I was very unhappy, I started to make a change in my head, then my heart, and then I started to attract good people in my life. I started to attract situations that never would have happened had I not made a change inside of me first. So whether it's your job, your career, you really have to leave that behind. And when I talk about the EEOC, when I talk about file discrimination, it's not complaining. I want you to be aware. I want you to you know, be aware what's happening in this industry so you can make smart choices. Like, I don't want black women to go into fields that have no opportunity for her. I don't want black women to be blind. Like, I was blindsided. I was completely yeah. Oh, somebody did the bartending. Yes. So also, guys, check out my video. I'm almost finished setting up my Patreon. My Patreon took a long time to do. So if you're a Patreon follower, I didn't forget about you. It just takes a long time because Patreon doesn't have the space like YouTube. Like YouTube, I can talk forever. The data, the space, I can download the whole house. Patreon's very limited. So I didn't know that, and I made all these videos and I had to chop, edit, chop. So it takes a long time. But I really believe in my heart, every woman watching this video, you can empower yourself with knowledge. Knowledge is power. This is not for you to complain and be angry. No, you need to, this is a government thing. You need to know. And guess what? Some of you will be getting money. I guarantee you, some of you watching this video are going to have issues that say, can Connie help me with that? I'm already helping several people. So this is something for you. This is something for you. When I had that single mom, she got like over $350,000 for the retaliation because she was able to show retaliation every single day. And she was also able to show it on a systematic level. So if you're able to show that the retaliation was going to the top, and they actually charge you by the proximity. So if it was corporate wide on a mass corporate scale and they connected to other associates, which because of their retaliatory behavior they did, then that's it. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say about pay. So ask questions. If you girls are in roles and you're getting an internal promotion, don't think for 1 second that you got to take a lower pay, because what you need to ask them, are you doing this? So how do you show retaliation? Oh my gosh, that's my favorite one. I love retaliation because managers so stupid. So retaliation, oh, Pia, I couldn't be a lawyer, because I would work for you. If I was a lawyer, I would have to work for them. And that was a big decision I had to make, because if you're an employment lawyer, the money is working for the corporations, because most associates don't have money to pay a lawyer. Most associates don't have, it's much more harder if you're working on the good guy side. I would never use my powers to be for the bad guy side, because I have to sleep at night. I could have easily I got offered two sponsors for companies I worked for to do employment law, and I'm like, so you want me to sabotage black women and black people? You want me to? Nah, that's not for me. And there's a lot of black people who are doing that. They're the token scapegoat black, and diversity inclusion manager, and they don't do shit. They're just a horse and pony show. So when the company gets in trouble, they say, look, we got a black diversity inclusion manager, we have somebody who's of color. So yeah, so definitely making sure that you guys know. So retaliation, somebody asked me, very good question. If you guys want, you can ask me questions. If it disappears, I'll tell you to write again. So the way you prove retaliation is consistency and sudden changes in your job. So for instance, if I reported something to the EEOC and right after it was reported, you changed my schedule, or you took away my some responsibilities, or you're treating me different. As long as anything changes in your work pattern, even if it's not because of retaliation, as an HR manager, we coach companies never to change anything after an associate makes a retaliation file or EEOC file, because even if you didn't plan to, it's all about the consistency and what it looks like. So companies get in trouble all the time because they're not educated. A lot of times they hire HR managers from the shoebox. So it drives me crazy, because a lot of times when I was working in HR, I can't say the company's name. If an associate's giving them problem, the first thing they say is, "How can I get rid of them?" I'm like, no, no, it doesn't work like that. Like, you should be looking to remedy the actual situation. The average lawsuit for discrimination costs companies $350,000. So I try to educate companies internally and say, hey, that's not the first resource. You're supposed to, no, you can't, because if you fire somebody, if you fire somebody the day after they file for the EOC, it's pretty bad. Even if they robbed a store, you still might lose that suit, because the government is crazy about retaliation. A lot of people don't know. You will be surprised when I speak to corporate people, when I speak to managers, because I do the volunteer coaching in New York City. When I speak to them, you'll be shocked how many managers don't know that retaliation is a federal law. And the reason why it's a federal law is because way back, this country made a decision, listen to this, to not be unionized, meaning that they had a choice. Either every single job in America was going to be a union, or every single job would be private with their option to be union. And they said, okay, the government said, okay, if it's not union, every single worker has the right to complain, to do a complaint process. It's your American right. So when I see people in trouble, the first thing I tell them is file for the EOC. If your job is about to fire you wrongfully, file for the EEOC, because that gives you protection. Because very few companies are going to fire somebody right after they do an EEOC, even if you're wrong, because they don't want that liability. It's such a powerful thing. And once you empower yourself, you can protect yourself. Make sense? So retaliation is a lack of consistency. It's implementing something to someone after they file a charge. Any more questions about that? About pay, discrimination? No. Pia, it's not illegal. It's actually, that's not true. You can discuss your pay. Companies wow, I'm glad you said that, Pia. Companies do that to scare you because of pay discrimination. If you check it right now, all right. Oh wow, I'm glad you said that. So the reason why companies don't want you discussing your pay is because a lot of people aren't paid fairly. So type it in, illegal to discuss pay. Who else has a computer in front of them? See what happens. You're gonna get UK, put USA. USA. All right, illegal to discuss pay. All right. So, employee compensation is a sensitive subject, one that many employers would like to keep secret. Bomba clot. Employers want to keep a secret. But how are you supposed to negotiate a salary if nobody knows? So, can an employer in the US create a policy? This is from the government's website that prohibits employees from discussing salary levels with other employees or gasp social media. For the most part, no. Employers may not prohibit employees from discussing compensation according to the National Labor Relations Board. Executive Order 2014 from President Obama. Okay, so he actually made this an executive order. All right, Obama executive order protects employees also of federal contracts to discuss wage and compensations. So, you know, company, yeah, well, this is what I'm saying. This is why you need to know the law. Okay? Colorado has their own law, which is called Colorado Wage and Transparency Act. I'm not going to go through that. Anybody listen to me from Colorado? Um, there's exceptions to the rule. An employee whose job function involves access to company wage and payroll, that's me, information may not disclose employee pay information. So of course, if I'm HR, I have access to the payroll. I'm not allowed to say, yo, she getting paid, son, because that's crazy. Because I have everybody's information. Employers not covered by the NRL Federal Contract Executive Order include municipal government employees and religious schools. So workers and institutions are subject to the policy of their respective employers and may be unable to discuss pay levels. So if you go to work for a company that tells you explicitly you can't discuss pay and you sign a contract and you agree it, you exempt yourself. So most companies don't do that because it's a federal thing. Like, why would you do that? So, yeah, yeah, there it is. I'm looking for states that reject it. Nobody did. Yeah, yeah. So Section 7 gives you a right to join, organize, union, bargain, collective. So you see, right after we talked about the pay, they talked about unionization. Because if you can't know pay, if you can't discuss pay, if you can't inquire about pay, how the hell you know what you're getting paid, son? Are you serious? Like, that's when the union comes in and negotiates your pay, and they don't want that. So let me give you some tips on how to negotiate pay. All right, who wants to be the fake? Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's illegal. You're right, Pia. So who wants to role play with me? I'm gonna pretend I'm walking to the office to get a pay. I'm gonna ask about pay in the company. I'm a electrician. Who wants to say, hey Connie? Who wants to write it in so we can role play? All right. Who wants to role play? Who wants to be my boss? Say, hey Connie, welcome to the. All right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You should. Yeah. When you sign for a job, there should be a contract. There should be hours. If they don't, you okay? Hey, okay, Pia. So Pia's my boss. So I'm walking. Yes, Coco. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So, hi, Coco. Good afternoon. Thank you for seeing me. So happy you made time for this appointment. I'd like to talk to you about my salary. So go ahead, Coco. Say, would you like to know? Go ahead. Come on, Coco. This is slow role playing. We're talking about pay here. Pay, money, money. Okay. Thank you, Miss Coco. Well, Coco, I've been working with the company for 2 years, and I check the requirements. I meet the educational requirements, and I also meet the related experience requirement. So I want to know what is the median pay range for someone in my department with my education and background? What's the average pay for someone with my experience? That's it. You don't have to say people's name. So the way you say it is, what's the median pay for someone in, my, and you also have to say, for my experience and my education. So when you look at pay, a lot of times I coach African American women, you got to make sure that you are on the average in terms of experience, years, and also education. Don't be like, oh, I'm not getting paid, and it's your first month and you have no experience and you don't have, So if you are there, you have the right to ask, what's the median pay for someone in my department with my background and my experience? That is your right. And if they tell you, well, Connie, the median pay is, you know, 75,000 and you're making 45,000, you can say, what is the process for me to get that pay amount? Do I got to take a test? Do I got to do additional work? Can I get it granted in a bonus? How can I reach what? And you have a right to ask those questions. So, well, what's funny is that you can, nobody gonna put, this is, wow, employers, this is why I'm so glad I'm doing this. Ain't nobody gonna put you in jail, son. What you think's gonna happen to if you record? I have heard recordings from every single state. You think the recording police go knock on your door? What do you think what's gonna happen to you? If you record, what do you think? You think you're gonna get arrested? You think the recording, nothing gonna happen to you. If you can record. Of course, there's laws about recording what you can't. But if you submit something that's a legal violation, someone saying the N-word or someone cursing at you, it's not going to be rejected. I don't know why this is, a lot of people think it's illegal. Like, how much careers and politicians get caught with their mistress or get caught saying crazy things on the telephone and get recorded? How many times is this going to happen before Americans realize there's no such thing as the audio police? The audio police doesn't happen. So, of course, in a perfect world, you know, they're going to tell you, don't record, it's illegal, you should be notified. But if you're in a court case for discrimination and the person is saying the N-word and they're not a rapper, they're not doing a rap song, they're going to use it in court. You could pay a penalty, which is what, $50? So like it you can record. You can record. So let's look at this law right here. Because how many times have you guys heard mistresses and politicians and people, look what happened to Donald Trump. Look what happened to Donald Trump when he said grab him by the coochie. You think Donald Trump know he was being recorded? Was Inside Edition sued? Brains, come on guys, brains. Was Inside Edition sued? He's the president of the United States. He was running as a candidate. How many times have we heard mad hot tea and scandal stuff? So it's not true. And even if it's true, how much time you gonna do? Have you ever heard somebody say, yo son, what you in for? I was recording mad shit, son. I was recording. I got recordings. Have you ever heard somebody say they in jail because they did recording? It's a way for the government. Exactly. Of course, recording is not illegal. Black women, don't let me throw my wig off. I've been known to do that. Don't let me pull it off my head. Y'all are not stupid. Y'all not stupid, because politicians been taken down from recording since back in the day. Trump got the coochie thing. Don't you think if it was illegal, he could easily say, hey, I didn't know I was being recorded? Text message, people screenshotting text message. Who's the guy who couldn't stop showing his penis? Wiener. That's a funny name, right? The guy Wiener, the New York senator guy. He's in jail right now because he got caught on the phone. How do you think they catch pedophiles? How do you think police officers catch sex offenders online? Hello? Do you know, you never watched To Catch a Predator? To Catch a Predator? You ever watch To Catch a Predator? That show where the guys are trying to have sex with minors, and they get them on the phone, where to meet them, and we all watching on TV, and the whole audio is there, and the guy walks in the living room naked, and we start laughing. That show, there's an app for that. You're asking about how to record? There's an app for that. So you can actually record while you're on the Wiener. Yeah, he got caught with the craziness. He got caught several times before he finally went to jail. So I always tell black people it's a pro-private industry, which means that you're not going to find HR people like me that's blowing up spots. You're not going to find HR people telling you, yeah, you can record, because they don't want that. They don't want that. And even if there's a penalty, what do you think the penalty is like? You think somebody's going to open up? We got that recording. open up. You think somebody's going to arrest you by a gun for? No. Some states might penalize you $50, $40, but it's not illegal. It's not. It's a best practice that you should tell people, that they're. Put it like this: who here has called a bank? Of course, everybody here called a bank. Who here has called a bank? Nobody here has called a bank. Come on, stop playing, son. You call a bank, all right? So what is it with Wieners and Weinsteins? I don't know, Wieners and Weinsteins. So, okay, Prissy, you've called a bank. When you call a bank, what does it say? This phone call may be recorded for quality assurance purposes. No, it's not. They're recording you for legal purposes. Do you have an option? What if you say, I don't want to be recorded? So, let's just say they make you aware. I don't want to be recorded. So what's my option? Is there a non-recorded option at Bank of America? So even if they make me aware, am I agreeing to it? It's not. It's. They tell you that it's a best practice. So don't you know. So it's a best practice. There are best practices that make sense, but trust me, if you get caught on tape, you know, on photograph, even after work, doing anything the company doesn't like, they can fire you for it. They're not going to say, oh, they could fire you for it. So that's why I'm doing headset split. That's why I'm doing it. If you guys have any more questions, let me know. You can put them here if before I go, because I'm about to go back to this massive case I have to do, and I have two other stuff that I'm doing too for my job, and then I have to help some other people. And remember, I'm here for you guys. If you guys have employee relation issues, if you guys have human resource issues, career coaching advice, I am here for you 100%. And just remember, don't feel bad about not knowing employee law. That is not your job. That's our job. But unfortunately, HR is grimy. A lot of HR is on the company side. So, you really can't expect them to be supportive of you because their paycheck comes from a private organization. But, you know, just remember, and also with Black women, there's a lot of ways to, before I go, there's a lot of ways to make money. And that's the thing that bothers me, is that there's so many ways without you investing. Yeah. Uh, Kimmy, I love nursing. I think nursing is one of the most diversified fields. Definitely become a nurse practitioner. You get paid much more. And depending on the stage that you're in, there's much more things you can do. So yeah, you could, those are good fields. Like if you want to be a nurse practitioner. But the only thing I say about nursing, because I have a few friends that are watching this now, they're nurses, is unless you work in a private practice, you're in Brooklyn. Oh, we gotta meet up then. The one thing I want to say about nursing, I would like you to do it for a couple of years and try to find a way to invest, because oh no, Twin Fish, what state was that? That's money. I'll help her write that file for the EEOC. Woo! You can't do that, especially right now with this whole Me Too crap. But like I was saying, Georgia, red state. Red state. Okay, but we can still do that. LSAT law. Well, law school is. We can talk. Anybody that's doing careers and you want information about the careers, demographics, percentage, acceptance rates. I'm also, that's what I do. I look at numbers all day. So I can help you with that. Just message me, let me know. You can find me through my Hashpit page, or my Facebook is Connie Walker. Just message me and say where you saw me from. 'Cause I do have some crazy people. I don't know where they come from. Just be angry for no reason. But one thing I like about my friend was a LP, a travel nurse too. But the thing is that nursing is not the best quality of life, but it makes amazing money. So I depending on how it does. So I encourage you to be a nurse because the work is there, the pull is there. Definitely, that's a smart patent law. That's smart, and that's what I mean. When somebody's telling me they want to be a lawyer, you see how I pause, because the legal field is massive, meaning that you could be environmental law. Nursing is great, but you can do a lot with nursing. Like I have a friend that is a registered nurse, and she's also a nurse practitioner. And I think I was talking about her, and her back gave out because she kept having to pick up kids and her back was bothering her. So she was like, Connie, what do I do? So she had a lot of capital because she was making over 100,000. She was making about 150 a year. She was guapping, but she physically could not pick up the kids anymore and transport them. And she was injuring herself and she was just tired. She's like about, 5 years older than me. She's tired. So she took some of her money and she actually opened a daycare in the city. Do you know how much money she's making? I'll show you her daycare. I'll link it in the description box. She's making a lot of money. I don't want to talk her business, but 5 times more than what she was making. And because she's a nurse, she can put on, I am a nurse practitioner, child care specialist, pediatric specialist with a certification for children with special needs. What? All those white parents from Central Park was running to put their kids in there. And guess what? She doesn't really work there. She manages it. She hires people to work there. So she was able to get loans. So she did it with the Small Business Association. She's Hispanic and because she's a minority, she was able to get loans and assistance. If you're living in New York, daycare is like crack. Where my New Yorkers at? The government is really eager to help you to establish daycare centers and childcare centers. So if you're able to do that and you accept vouchers as well, the government more than happy to help you. So I did not know that childcare was that much of a big business until I did the brainstorming for her and I was like, wow. So she now she manages the place. She's there about 3 times a week. She doesn't even work 8 hours a day. She goes in to manage the payroll, manage the books, touch base, make sure the people getting paid, make sure the facilities run properly, make sure everything's clean. you know she orders product and food and stuff for daycare. She just manages 3 days a week. She doesn't even work 40 hours in 3 days, but she was smart. She saved her money throughout the entire time, during while she was working, and she was able to invest in a daycare in Manhattan. So I'm not talking about the hood. I'm talking about in the 40s, on 41st. She's in the city. So she's making a really good salary, and she got like the back streets. So she's not paying that premier real estate. She's in a nice location. So yeah, nurse practitioners, that's true, Coco. It's like a doctor. So yeah. So definitely, you know, I have my education. I went to college. I did what I had to do. And the reason why I'm so big on entrepreneurship is that a lot of black women watching this video right now, you know, went to college and they're not successful and they're not getting the support they need. I believe if you went to college, when you go to Cornell, they help you to network. They put you out there. They tell you how to do it. But at the end of the day, you have to find that mutual connection. You have to find a true mentor that's passionate and devoted to your success. And it doesn't really happen too much with Becky meets Connie. It doesn't really happen. So that's why I'm here to tell you, diversify your income. And you do have black women that are watching this right now who can't afford to go to college. They're raising 2 kids. They're a single mom. They think, damn, I can't go to school, so I'm gonna die. You're absolutely not gonna die. There's so many things you can do to get yourself up to a certain economic standpoint. There's absolutely no reason why, if you didn't go to college, you're going to drop it and fail. Yes, college does help, but it gets you to a certain level. Past that, that's all you using those skills as an entrepreneur, investing in yourself. All right? So that's it, guys. All right. So if you have any questions, again, you can email me, message me, try to find me on Facebook. It's easier. I'm still going through my YouTube messages. I try to review every single message and get back to you. I do have a job and a life, so I'm trying my best. But definitely you can contact me for HR consulting, contact me for career coaching, and just ask me questions. Or if you have a case dealing with discrimination, all right? So on my Facebook is Connie Loren Walker. I'm going to put my Facebook in the description box, but it's Connie Walker. I think I'm the only like black Connie in New York, so you shouldn't be too hard to find me. And I also have my Facebook page already on my YouTube, so try to look for it and see. All right. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Have a great day or night. Bye.